model of business model. Because I mean, it's the same way with razors. Like, it's usually cheaper to just go buy a razor that comes with like 2 or 3 free blades.
Right.
It's cheaper than buying a pack of replacement blades.
Right.
Yeah.
That's like it's like the halogen lamps when they first came out, like the torchier lamps, the floor lamps. Mm-hmm. The floor lamp was $25, but the bulb was $25, but the lamp was $13. And I was like, well, I could just buy a whole brand new lamp and a bulb for $13 than to buy the actual replacement bulb, because the replacement bulb was like $25 at the time for one.
So it wasn't any different. And when I worked in the hydroponic and indoor gardening industries, we used to sell these, especially when like the ceramic growing lights came out. You could get the light with a bulb, the fixture with the bulb. It had the same output as like 1,000-watt metal halide or a sodium hydrochloride bulb, and you get it for $100. But the bulb goes out, the replacement bulb was $300. It's like, I just go buy a whole nother fixture. It comes with a free bulb, at least.
Yeah. That's the craziest thing to me. Is it's just cheaper to get a whole new whatever than it is just to get the replacement.
It's like the Sony projectors. When they had the Sony projectors, the bulb was $500, and the projector went down to like $300. And I was like, so I could just get a whole brand new projector for $300 with the bulb.
Yeah. It'd be, what the hell? Hang on. Let me see what's going on with my dog. She's going crazy right now.
All right, let's see what's going on with Mark here. Mark, are you on? Are you here? Are you? Oh, there you are. Okay.
Howdy.
Hey.
How you doing?
Good. Okay. It's almost 2:00, so we are on Ghost Club Productions Radio. We are live on there. I told everybody that you were, Captain Christopher Pike, so that you look like Captain Christopher Pike, so you do. So.
Well, I'll take that as a compliment.
Gretchen and Gilbert do a show called The Rules of Nerdquisition, so they did it's 2:00. Okay. They do a show called The Rules of Nerdquisition, and they had a guest. They actually had Chris Hunter on.
Oh yeah,
and Chris was so
he's a good friend of mine, actually.
Yeah.
He was fun to talk. He was fun to talk to. He was fun.
Okay, so Gilbert should be coming back. He is doing something with his dog, and then we're gonna introduce the show. And I guess I can start. Okay, it is 2:00 Eastern Standard Time. On the East Coast, this is Model Citizen. I'm your host, George Dayer. I am flanked by my wonderful co-hosts, Gretchen and Gilbert, and I forgot to do the thing for Gretchen. Wait, a.k.a. Barbie Yaga, a.k.a. Jane Wick, a.k.a. Vader's Mistress. Got it. Okay.
You got most of them, yeah.
I got most of them. Okay. Okay. Sorry about that. You're listening to Model Citizen on GCPR, Ghost Claw Productions Radio. And we are streaming also on our GCPR YouTube channel. We're also streaming on Twitch, I believe. And I don't know if we're streaming on TikTok, since, it went away. It came back. It went away. I don't know. So that's the business end of the program is, we also have a sponsor. Our sponsor is Tenna Controls, tennacontrols.com, bringing models to light. We have a special guest today, Mr. Mark Myers, who is.
I didn't know I was a special guest.
Yeah, you're a special guest. Special guest star. Like special. With it.
Yeah.
You're like Jonathan Harris, like from Lost in Space, special guest star for like 3 years. So, Mark is a model maker. I'm a premier model maker, and you're getting burned out on the Star Trek models, and I know this because I talked to Gilbert about when I did, the Enterprise D for like a local hobby shop. I did it 17 times. I lit it 17 times, and I was like, "That's it. I'm done."
Yeah.
And people are like, "Oh, can I have it?" No, I'm done. Move on to another model. Go to a tank. Go to a car.
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm not doing it again. So.
All right.
So the thing I want to ask you is, who is Mark Myers and how did you get here?
Well, I'm a friend of George Dyer's, and he invited me on. So
I was going to say, no, well, I got here because he gave me the Zoom link. No. Okay.
well, that too.
All right, great interview.
Yeah.
Got right to the crux of it.
So, I guess what George is fishing for is I'm a model maker and a prop maker, and I've been for a long time. And George and I had a friendship. He actually came to one of maybe 2 seminars. George,
just one. The AAA hobbies. That was before the pandemic.
Okay, well, I thought that you were at the Jersey Fest seminar too. No. Eric Longstreet was at that one.
Eric Longstreet was there. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know if I was. I was at Jersey Fest. I never went to the.
Oh, okay.
I never went to the.
Yeah. So George asked me to be part of this and talk about model making and Star Trek, and so that's what I'll do.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I mean, anything. Yeah. I just want to know your background. Who are you and.
Well, the reason so now I've been doing for actually quite a few years now, over a decade or so. I got hurt pretty bad on the job, to the point I was almost killed, and that got me into doing commissions and stuff, because I always built models. I've been building models since I was a kid, since I was, I don't know, 6 or 7. Actually, there's a story how I started building models, but it actually involved Star Trek and the Starship Enterprise, of all things. So when I was a kid and that kit came out back in whatever it was, but it was the second release or something, and I had gone to visit a cousin. And he was a model maker, and he built tanks and airplanes, and he loved sci-fi too, but he was primarily into tanks, and he would do these exquisite jobs on tanks. And he said he wanted to show my father and I something, so we went upstairs to his room, and on display he had a Lost in Space, the Cyclops throwing the boulder.
Oh yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Met the
he
chariot,
had that,
right?
and he had the AMT Enterprise. And immediately I was smitten with it. So my parents, being who they were, they got the kit for me, and I was a little bit too young to put it together. So my father, God bless him, was not a model builder by any means. And he sat there at the kitchen table. I could still visualize this as he's putting. So if you guys remember, the original AMT issue had a little light bulb in the top and the bottom of the saucer.
I had that kit. I found that kit. I found that kit like 3 months ago, and I bought it. I got it.
Okay, so he's
the little.
So we're talking about somebody who doesn't know how to build these things. So I was a little kid, and he's threading the bulbs through the top and the bottom of the saucer, and I think maybe there was lights in the I can't remember, but he spent hours doing this, putting it together. He got a phone call from work, so he gets up to get the phone call. So me, being the impatient little brat that I was, I pulled the wires and everything out of the thing, and he came back and went, "Oh no, what'd you?" So at that point, I was building models on my own. At that point, nobody was building models. So I've been building since I was a kid. And again, just to fast forward and not to bore everyone, I was involved in a pretty bad accident, and to try and help with the bills and put food on the table, I'm seeing these guys advertise they're doing these builds, and I'm like, I could do that. And so that's what happened.
Yeah. I mean, there weren't a lot of resources back in the day in the 70s, because I remember getting the kit, and I remember it. I think it came with 2 grain of wheat bulbs, like 2 white grain of wheat bulbs. I believe the secondary hull was where you had a battery pack. It was like 2 C batteries or something like that. I think I remember that.
Yeah.
And you would take the front off with the navigation dome, like the navigation thing, and you would put the batteries in there, and it kind of like clicked in, and then you would turn it on. I was like, that's really cool.
Yeah.
But it was all like you had to get like model train lighting in order to light up certain models if you were going to do it back in the day. There were no LEDs. There was nothing like we have today.
No.
There were no specialized boards, like Tenet Controls makes for different scales, for different models. And, we were just like, piecing things together. And I would take toys apart, and I would take the guts out of a toy and put it into a model and say, hey, that blinks like this, that blinks like that. Like,
yeah.
Like when I did Kit, I got the Pontiac, the Trans Am kit. It wasn't Kit.
Right.
They never came out with a model, that was at that scale. I think it was 1/48 scale kit.
Okay.
The Pontiac Trans Am. I actually had to create the dashboard myself. I actually had to use, like epoxy sculpt, and do the whole dashboard and do the whole thing. I had to do it all by hand, and I made Kit for myself. But I found a toy that had the lights that went back and forth, like the little red light, and I put it in the front, and I had to do that. Yeah. I had to rewire. So that's how I, basically found out how to rewire stuff and, put LEDs into models. So.
Yeah, well, we're kind of spoiled today because we have a lot to choose from, and back in the early '80s through the '90s, so we have an eclectic assortment of kits that we can choose from. But if you remember back in the '70s and '80s, not so much. I mean, we had Star Trek kits, which I was happy with, and then of course Star Wars came on the scene, and that. We got kits from them, and then you got maybe a couple kits from Battlestar Galactica because of what Star Wars started. But there was a big hole there for like Irwin Allen stuff and classic sci-fi. And where I cut my teeth on was the Lunar Models kits that were out at the time. They were made at first. They were made terribly. I mean they weren't for the faint-hearted to assemble, and. They came out with the Irwin Allen line of stuff, which I always loved. I could see the robot hanging on your microphone there. So they had the Jupiter 2 and different sizes. I think they had a 16-inch size, and then they had a 2-footer. And so I started cutting my teeth on that. And that stuff wasn't easy to work with. Anybody, I don't know if you've assembled any of their kits, but
yes, they're. Let's just put it this way: they left a lot to be desired.
Well, you gotta. I cut them a break because they're really. I mean, they did what they could do, and they were the alternate source of, like I was saying, Irwin Allen kits, because there was no love at all. I mean, we got maybe Monogram reissued the Flying Sub, and they reissued the Spindrift. Of course, they were all the Aurora kits. Yeah, and. What else they do? Which it wasn't Irwin Allen, but the UFO Invaders, which you're working on. Yeah. The Saucer. So we had those 3 kits, which were reissues, but for some reason the Jupiter 2 proved very elusive, and we didn't. It wasn't until Lunar did that. Now, you flash forward, you had Polar Lights come out with the Jupiter 2. And then Mobius, of course, did the Jupiter 2 and all that. So
yeah, I like the Mobius kits. They're they're well thought out, I should say. Most of the detail on them are very good. The other kits that I built were the other model line was Halcyon, I believe. They did vinyl kits.
Yes, they did a lot of Alien kits and Terminator.
Alien, there was Terminator, stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Vinyl kits were a big thing in the late 80s. They came out with a lot of Batman, Horizon, and then of course, did they do the Star Trek Next Generation figures too? No, that was Geometric.
Yeah, it was Geometric. Yeah. I built back in 1999. I built the Rocketeer kit. That was all vinyl.
Yeah.
I think that was a Halcyon kit. No, sorry, Screamin'. It was Screamin'
So
models.
again, the vinyl kit, even though you weren't used to using with that dealing with that format, again, if you were able to overcome it, and because it's a lot of people are pigeonholed with styrene kits. They're like, oh, I can't build a resin kit, or I can't build a vinyl. Why not? It's a different approach. The biggest challenge for the vinyl kits back when they first come out was the paint.
Yeah.
Because acrylic paints, I think, were just starting to come out, and they were pretty crappy. They weren't really that good.
Yeah.
So you had to use a specific type of paint. I can't remember what I used, whatever. But that was the biggest challenge. I think I used craft paints. Craft paints.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. The vinyl for me was the primer. I actually use the Games Workshop paints, which were formulated. They had a primer that you could spray on. They had a spray-on primer from like a can.
Sure.
And it was made for vinyl. It was I'm not going to say it was not enamel. It was it was an acrylic-based primer.
Okay.
And you could clean it up with soap and water. That's what I loved about it. I was like, wow, this is really cool. You spray it on, and then you had that. Once you had that, then you can use, your acrylic paints.
Sure, yeah.
To do that. And I was telling Gretchen about, like, when I did Slave 1, that was the first time I had ever used acrylic paints. I sprayed the entire model with a silver enamel, just to get the base coat of metal. Well, sorry, I did a primer, and then I did enamel, and then after that, I went in with acrylics, so I could use steel wool to kind of scrape it off the panel and get like that chipped effect, like that worn effect down the bare metal.
Right.
Something like that. So.
Yeah, a lot of the techniques and like for dioramas and building, the Star Wars guys basically, for the Star Wars kits, they basically took the approach of the tank guys, the military modelers, because that's basically what, like Shep Payne at that time, I like his work. I got his book, How to Build Dioramas. It's an older book, and of course there's a lot of things out there now that can probably do the same thing, but at the time his books were the only kind of information on how to do stuff like that. And like for what you're saying about the Slave 1 and all that, I don't know if I got it from him or I don't remember, but just pouring, like if you paint the model the color and you put salt on it and then spray over top and then brush the salt off, that gives the chipping effect.
Right.
There's different techniques now, and there's a lot more information, and it's quick. It's not like before where we had to go buy a book or we wait till Fine Scale Modeler came out with an issue that had an article that pertained to something we were working on at the time, and if it didn't, you filed it away and like, all right, maybe later on they'll have something. But we are spoiled today with yeah.
Great. Like my hobby shop had the Signal publications, which were good for military kits. You could actually get pictures. Some, would be in color, some would be in black and white, but you could see the detail if you wanted to detail your model like that. There was never anything for sci-fi. Sci-fi was like totally up to you. It's whatever you could do.
Yeah.
You would possibly get, because of the internet now and everything, you can get like screen grabs, and that's what I had to do when I built the Kirk command chair.
Yeah, you're a Google search or an image search away from whatever you need.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I could look at, like, because I've been asking Steve Neal if he could get me, because he actually had pictures. I don't know if he still has them. He had a big flood, in his house, and he lost a lot of stuff. So he actually had behind the scenes pictures from Battle Beyond the Stars. So it was all those models, and all those pictures I think are just gone. So they were on hard drive. Yeah, and it was, but because he worked for Roger Corman, back in the day. I think he did Forbidden World, the movie Forbidden World, which was the Alien ripoff. But anyway, like like a lot of those models, those screen you can only get screen grabs from the movie now. You just go to the movie and just get a screen grab and go, okay, well, this is this is that. That's how I had to try to figure out the angles for the Kirk chair. I basically had to just watch every single episode and go, oh, look, the chair turned this way in this episode. It turned to the side, and I got a screen grab, and you get it, you print it out, and then you put a protractor on it. And you go, okay, that's a 33 degree angle. That's all this other stuff. And I'm like, there's no real basis for it. There's a couple clubs around. I know that there's clubs. There's the Kirk Chair, Builders Club on Facebook. There's what Todd Morton is doing, Space 1999, at Todd's Corner. And there's all stuff you're doing. So, I mean, you're when you do the Constitution refit, I'm just amazed. I'm looking at this stuff and I'm like, wow. And the thing, the new thing is that I believe the original screen miniature of the Constitution refit had a pearlescent panel, like a detail on it, and you're doing that now, right, on yours?
Well, yeah. So so this is gonna offend Trek fans out there, but the refit to me has always been. I mean, it's probably my the original ship from the TV series will be my favorite from all time.
Yeah.
The refit, I think, is overrated. And I say that because I think it gets more attention. In other words, having built both and having all the information, of course, the refit has a lot more detail on it and all that. But the first one is just so perfect. And the second one, people, that's the best looking story. And it is. It's my second favorite, don't get me wrong, but it's the pearlescent, the iridescent, I should say, iridescent paint scheme that's on it is there to give it a sense of scale. When they were doing the film, before they brought Doug Trumbull in, the refit is the miniature, the actual studio miniature that they used in all the films, I think is 8 feet in length, and it's now in the lobby of Elon Musk's or one of those guys. I don't know, one of these rich guys' is lobby. It's sitting there. Okay, so it's 8 feet in length. Now this was before Doug Trumbull was brought on board. It was another company, and I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. But once Doug Trumbull come on, he wanted the ship much bigger. He has said in interviews that if it was up to him and he got there prior to everything, the ship would be much bigger. Because you're talking about a man who worked on 2001: A Space Odyssey, and the Discovery was 25 feet long?
Right.
30 I think.
Yeah.
And so in order to give it a sense of scale, they added all these little intricate Aztecing, they call it. Whereas there's wait, 5. There's 4 color. So there's a white, and everything else goes on top of it. And there's the blue, a gold, a green, and a red. And the way this iridescent paint works is that if you turn a certain angle, it'll flip-flop. It'll change color. It's a really cool effect.
Mm-hmm.
And in the first film, I think the ship looked the best. Star Trek: The Motion Picture is my favorite of all the Trek films. I know that's sacrilegious too, because everybody says, "What, Wrath of Khan?" Which is, my second favorite. Those two. But on the big screen, the Enterprise herself, she looks the best in Star Trek: The Motion Picture, because Doug Trumbull photographed it in such a way that it was just a beautiful looking miniature. But I think what it goes to, and this is just my opinion, your mileage may vary, that lighting is low-hanging fruit,
right,
for most modelers. The more lights, the better. They don't care if it's in scale. They don't care if it's correct. And then you got that side, well, you build for yourself and whatever makes you happy. Yeah, no, okay, I'm all for that. That's good. My way, making me happy is get it as close, and this is just me I'm talking about, right? Is to get it as close to the filming miniature as possible. That's how I have my fun. That's what makes it interesting and a challenge to me, because we're talking about so for the refit, we're talking about, it's 3 feet, it's almost 3 feet, the model.
Mm-hmm.
It's not an 8-foot miniature, so you have to take into scale lighting.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't have the main deflector dish look like it's a flashlight. But it seems like wherever you go, I mean, to each his own, but let's call it what it is. I mean, wherever it seems the brighter the lights, if you could see it from the space station, that's great. I'm not into that. I want to make it as authentic. And that's the restrictions I put on myself, not on anyone else.
Right.
Strictly for me.
Yeah.
And luckily,
Now,
I have a group of individuals who kind of agree with that are the people I build for.
Right.
So
is the one that's on the table behind you in your video the same one I'm looking at in pictures on your Facebook page?
this one here?
Yeah.
Okay, that was a gift. Well,
was it?
No, wait. So I consulted with Tomy. They make die cast.
Okay.
So they did a 3-foot Enterprise. They called me. They said, "Listen, we're doing this 3-foot Enterprise. We'd like you to be involved." I'm like, "Okay, that's fine." So I gave them photographs of my model, videos of it, how I did the lighting, and they were kind enough to give me. Actually, I got a couple of them. One of them went to my friend in Ticonderoga, James Cawley, who runs the Star Trek set tour. I gave one to him.
Cool.
So that's mine there.
That's beautiful.
Nice. Yeah, I saw you were mentioned on Tested. Adam Savage was interviewing the one guy from Tomy.
Chris. Chris Husan.
Yeah, Chris. Yeah.
Chris.
Yeah.
Well, I consulted on their first release, which is that ship you see behind me, and then I was actually at the set tour for a Shatner event, and Chris had tried to contact me again, and I was so busy I didn't get back to him, and then he contacted me when I came back, and a couple times while I was at the tour. So when I came back, I was involved in an automobile accident. I got rear-ended. That's another story. So it took.
I saw that. Yeah.
So the real whole, my car was totaled. There's all kinds of. But anyhow, Chris was sending me messages, and then I felt as though I need to get back to this man. So he said, "Can I call you?" Long and short of it is, they wanted me to be involved in the refit. So Chris was willing to fly to my house. He wanted to take photographs of my model to use as the basis for the Tomy diecast. And I was like, well, wait a minute. It doesn't make more sense. I'll send you as many photographs as you like of every angle that you wish. He said, would you do that? I'm like, sure. Why not? So that's what I did. And now, yeah, he was nice enough to, he's a stand-up guy, and he is, I don't want to, he mentioned me to Adam Savage several times, and that was kind of cool. Turns out Adam Savage knows my work, which I I was like, what? He goes, yeah.
Nice.
See, Adam Savage, I think, I'm just saying this, he doesn't peruse these hobby boards as Adam Savage.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that would make sense because I mean,
Yeah,
he would instantly be recognized. Yeah,
Adam's a builder, and he likes other builders.
Yeah.
So he was aware of my stuff, so that was kind of flattering and humbling at the same time. So
Yeah, he peruses the RPF lot. I know that, and he buys stuff off the RPF.
oh yeah,
You know, the replica props for him. And I think I know who he is. I mean, I think I know who his screen name is, but sometimes he changes it.
Oh sure.
So you know, because if people understand who he is, they go, oh, and then they send him questions and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you have to like keep changing your alias all the time. So yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm looking forward to its release. I think it's the refit should be out in October, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
October 2025.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking
Nice.
forward to it.
Yeah, I watched the video and I was like, oh well, because the refit basically has scaled lighting. That's I look because I was telling Gretchen and Gilbert about the one model that I saw, and it was I forget what model it was. I think it was Constitution refit. I had seen it at Wonderfest. I didn't go to Wonderfest, but I saw pictures of it. And then Eric Longstreet told me, goes, "Isn't it great? Oh, it's really great." I'm like, yeah, those people must, like those people inside that saucer section, they must be walking around with welder's goggles on because that lens flare must be really, really bright. No enemy would ever think of trying to beam onto the bridge because it's so damn bright in that ship. I mean,
yeah.
So as soon as they materialize, they're instantly blinded. Just
it'd be like, they'd have to be like Breen or something like that. I don't know, but
yeah, scale lighting is an art unto itself, and you don't want to just throw people. Well, what does that mean? It means that okay, if you're looking at this model, whatever subject it is, a spaceship or a Titanic model, or does the light, if you're looking at a perceived distance, does it look real? And that's the whole basis of. To me, if it's too bright, it's just off-putting. It doesn't. It looks like a toy.
Yeah.
Now, again, that's my take on it, because I don't. Some guys like it so bright. Like I said, you need welder's goggles to walk the corridors of the Enterprise, and it's like, no, that's not the way it should be. Even if you watch the original series of the 11-foot miniature that they used. It's all scale lighting. When they do those close-ups on the saucer and those classic shots that they had, that lighting's not screaming out at you.
Yeah.
It's a very soft, subtle effect.
Yeah.
And even the nacelles, the power domes that spin on the original series ship, they're not super bright and popping all over the place. And then if you see, so then you get the argument. Or the conversation. Well, that was filmed in front of a blue screen with a lot of big studio lights. Well, that's not the case. If you go to the Roddenberry, Michael and Denise Okuda put out the Roddenberry, what's it called? I forget what it'll come to me. But they have behind-the-scenes footage of the 11-footer on the pedestal. Those things aren't as bright as some individuals may think they are.
Right.
They're very subtle effect, which gave them the realism, which made it look real.
Yeah, they put pieces of. I think they put like shards of a mirror. They put like glass mirror shards and they glued them around, and it's just basically, like back in the day, it was grain of wheat bulbs. That's basically what it is.
Right.
They were incandescent lighting, but they weren't very, very bright. You know.
They were Christmas lights.
Yeah, they're Christmas lights. Yeah.
And they had them positioned in such a way where they would flash and blink at different times.
Yeah.
And like you said, they had broken mirrors in there to reflect it, because incandescent lights has a directional light, LED lights do not. They glow all around.
Yeah.
So incandescent lights went forward. So what they did was they mounted these things on pegs. There's behind the scenes footage, or not footage, but photographs of the power domes with the caps removed. But they were just Christmas lights, and they only ran them for a few seconds because they got so hot. They would burn out. And I learned that very early on, because when I was trying to recreate the effect, it's like, well, in this scene, that red light in one scene is green in another. Well, the light bulb blew, and they take the cap off, put a green on. They didn't care. The production, it's and who would have thought 50-something years later, we're sitting there scrutinizing every frame. That's the power of the original show, really.
I'm an amateur model builder at best, and certainly lighting is something I haven't yet delved into. But now that I'm looking at it, even some of the photography I see, I go on these lighting websites, and the lights are so bright on these ships, you can almost not see the ship itself. There's like a washout in the photos, and it's just like, I don't know, maybe don't do it in a dark room with 300 watt, whatever you got in that thing. I mean, I don't know the watt.
I don't know, maybe just
levels, but
better lighting. Just
tone it down.
Just not.
Well, the 60,
I don't know.
The 60, is it 603 or 604? They're like very, very tiny LEDs. They could fit on like the head of a match.
Oh, they got
head or whatever, those real small ones. Those things are so super bright. I tried to put those into the hot base, like when I built the diorama for Jersey Fest, and I was like, that thing is so bright. I was like, I just wanted scaled lighting on this little gantry to shine down. That's all I wanted. And they were like car headlights, like putting car headlights in, and it was just one LED. It was like this little LED, like a 16th of an inch long, and I was like,
stupid $8 LED light strip I got going around the top of my bedroom. I don't need a reading lamp in there. I can just turn it on and read a book. It's so bright.
Well, some of the models out there, you could read a book.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just super bright.
Yeah, it was.
And again, it go back to what I was saying. To each his own. I mean, if you want your model to be so bright and light, but it's up to you. Again, it's just. I keep saying this, and I will continue this. I'm a boring modeler. I just try and make it look, and I'm very keen on what the studio miniatures look like. And if you go on my Facebook page or one of the pages, one of the miniatures I like is from a TV show from Irwin Allen called Land of the Giants. Okay, the Spindrift.
Spindrift, yeah.
Okay, the Spindrift has a unique shape to it. The real studio miniature. Okay, so this is brought up depending on what group you're part of. I try to avoid it now because it's like going down the rabbit hole of insanity. But the Spindrift, to me, is a beautiful design. It has curves, all the miniature, the filming miniature. Okay,
right.
This filming miniature is in all of the promotional material. It's in all the promotional material with Deanna Lund, the actress on the show. She's sitting there with the Spindrift. It's in all of the interplay between the giant actors when they lift the ship up and all that. Yet there's a group. Well, maybe I shouldn't get into this because it's going to go down a rabbit hole. But that particular miniature, I wanted that for so long, and the only one that was available was the Aurora one, which is inaccurate.
Right.
The way my mind is wired now, I see the inaccuracies all over it. Oh, it's a nice kit. You take the top off. It's got a little interior, little figures, and yeah, it's got a nice kit. And then Lunar came out with one, but it was based off of the full size standing set that the actors that the crew were, they come out of the door and all that. So I was fortunate enough I'm friends with a gentleman by the name of Mark DeRay. He's probably, and this term gets thrown around too much. He is an expert on all Land of the Giants. He knew the cast. He loves this ship. Anyway, he was able to get a 3D scan of the 3-foot, 4-foot filming miniature.
Oh.
And I acquired a 16.5-inch kit from him.
Nice.
That has all the flaws and everything on it. So to a nerd like me who loves the original miniature, I love, to me. So Mobius is coming out with the kit.
Oh.
They originally brought Mark on for this thing, and he was telling them, no, that doesn't look right. Well, because there's a committee involved in designing this kit, I'm not going to go. We're not going to get unfortunately, after all this time, we're getting a big spindrift, but it is inaccurate.
Yeah, a lot of the things I've seen on the spindrift, because people were asking about the sliding door that's on the starboard side of the ship. They were like, well, how's that door go back, and how's it slide in, and how come it's too close to one of the intakes? And I'm like, okay, you could do that if you want. And and the one guy's just going on and on. It's inaccurate. Like when because I was doing the Invaders UFO, and I got onto one of Randy Cooper's Zooms, and I believe Randy Newbert said, he goes, well, he goes, are you going to mass produce that? And, you don't have artistic license, and you don't have this. And I was like, no, I'm not going to mass produce it. I'm going to make one for one person. I'm going to make one for another person. And that's it. I'm not selling it. I'm not mass producing it. I'm just going to make it for myself because I love the Invaders. That's what I grew up with. I grew up with the Invaders. I have the Atlantis miniature. It's 7 inches in diameter. The damn thing is white. A lot of people don't understand that. The actual saucer was white. And they were like, no, it's blue. And some guys go, it's silver. And it's not. They used a blue screen with a white saucer. The reflection of the blue got to the white. And then that's how you see it in the, series as blue. Like a glowing, it's glowing blue. No, it's not.
No. That's the same. It's the same issues we have with the Enterprise.
Yeah.
The Enterprise, the original series Enterprise is much. The color scheme of the original series Enterprise is, if you want to go, it's more difficult than you think it is.
Yeah.
There's a lot of shading, and there's a lot of subtle weathering on it. And, I'm going to make it like it looked on the screen. Okay, well, what screen did you have? How big was your TV? Was it black and white? Was it an RCA? Was it a Zenith? What color did you? It's flippant. It's like, look, you make it any way you want. It's your model. Paint it pink with, purple power domes or whatever you want to do. It's fine. As long as it's making you happy. But if you want to go ahead, if you want to take a different and say, okay, well, this is what it really looked like. And you do the research on it, for me, that's fun. But I think it's not the guys who actually build and they'll build it to whatever color. That's fine. Build it whatever you want to do. It's fine building any. To me, I enjoy building it, like I said earlier, closest to the original studio miniature as I possibly can. But then there's a group that they just don't want to admit in the middle there. They're the ones who cause the trouble. I don't know if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
they don't want to admit that. Well, you know what? I just want to build it for me. Whoa, that's great. No, it doesn't look that color on my TV screen. It's my rules, my build. Okay, you do what you want to do. Nobody's. That's the wrong color.
Yeah.
I don't know what
I had. I had that argument with a gentleman on Facebook when I showed him the prototype that I was building for the Invaders, and he goes, well, that cylindrical section is supposed to be bigger, and it makes the I was like, and he goes, and you probably took the dimensions off of the Atlantis saucer, which is the wrong dimensions. And I was like, no, I took it off the actual studio scale miniature.
Yeah,
I took I got it from my friend John McCallum, and I said, and he goes, okay, this is this. He sent me the cross section. I took it with calipers. I measured back and forth and everything. And I was like, okay, I took it off the actual studio scale miniature. I was like, okay, that's what I did. Well, the skirt is too big and you should do this. And I was like, look, to each his own.
Yeah.
You do you, I'll do me.
Yeah.
And everybody
That's
will be
all
happy.
right.
I'm not, I mean, I just don't have artistic license for some of the things that I do. Well, actually, most of the things I do, but I'm not mass producing them. I'm not,
Yeah.
So
It,
but yeah, I was just so what type of electronics do you use? Do you
well,
use?
believe it or
Well,
not, I get,
in your models, like your lighting and stuff like that, are you using 9 volt, 12 volt, 24 volt?
depends. It depends on what I want to do.
Okay.
Okay, so for the enterprise kits, because they're so big and they're pretty stationary, they're going 12 volt for like the Galileo 7, the model that Mobius
Yeah, the
came out
1/32 scale.
even the Jupiter 2 that's in my videos, the big Jupiter 2, 9 volt batteries. And this is just me because I like to use them and make little films with them. I don't know if you've seen any of my work.
Yes. Sorry. Mark Meyer's YouTube channel is called The Third Models. Can you explain what The Third Models means to you
Well,
or to the audience?
So a good friend of mine he passed away a while ago. He asked me that very question. He goes, "What's this like? There's some kind of what's the third models?" I said, "It's not what you think it is." He goes, "Well, what is it?" I said, "Well, I am Mark Myers the third, and my son is Mark the third. So my wife basically would say the third when she called me. So it was kind of derogatory, frustrated expression from
It's
my
a
wife.
designation like 7 of 9. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So that's where it came from. So she could differentiate me from my son.
Okay.
So I said, I'll just call it the third models then.
Now we know. See,
Yeah.
we have a behind the scenes tidbit. That's great.
Not
Thank
that
you.
nobody cares, but that's
No, I care. I'm not like going, why is he calling it the third models? There has to be something there. Like, I have to ask him that question.
Well, and when you're a kid like I was, and there was somebody else in the family with the same name, and it was Big G and Little G. Of course, I was Little G, which I hate being called that when I was growing up.
No, it would have been funny if you just said, "Oh, I just randomly just Googled one day and just started typing in stuff," and it was just it just popped up on Google as a most searched 3.
Yeah. It's not as interesting as that. It's actually pretty boring.
He's like, it was just a random Google search. That's what happened.
Random Google search models. It kind of has a ring to it.
Yeah.
So,
But
most of your kits are you're associated with Mega Hobby or sorry. So AAA Hobbies in Magnolia, New Jersey. Shout out to AAA Hobbies in Magnolia, New Jersey.
yeah.
Has an online store. Their online store is Mega Hobby.
Correct.
They sell sci-fi. I mean, they sell everything. I mean, I've been there like going, that's the type of hobby shop I would have loved to have here in Pennsylvania. I have to travel like 2.5 hours or maybe an hour and a half to get to New Jersey to go to Tech Toys and then go there. If I traveled to Magnolia, because I know we went for one of your model expositions before the pandemic, I think Eric Longstreet and I went. It was it was like 2 hours and 15 minutes to get to the hobby shop. And I was like,
8 minutes.
It
takes me 8 minutes to get there.
It was a long, yeah. I was like,
yeah, I'm fortunate that I have a brick and mortar hobby shop. I know they're few and far between now, but I'm fortunate that I have one. Like I said, 8 minutes away, and I get all my supplies, my paint, my kits, and stuff from them. And if they don't have it, I'll go on Amazon or something to that effect to get the kit. But I pretty much get everything from those guys, everything.
Yeah.
And I have for years.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. Like my hobby shop used to be the Eveready Hobby Shop in Bloomfield, New Jersey. I lived in East Orange, so it was like 15 minutes away from me. But you know, and that's where the owner said, "Hey, would you like to build the the Enterprise D for somebody?" Sure, I'll build that kit. That was my first kit like my first commission I ever built for somebody, and I mean, I wasn't charging that much, at the time.
Yeah.
Finding like little grain of wheat bulbs from like train sets and stuff like that, and throwing it into the model, and then I built it 17 times, and then after the 17th time, I was just burned out, like you are burned out on
Oh.
on the Star Trek. On the Star Trek, I was like going, just give me anything, dude. Give me like a Viper, give me Battlestar Galactica, give me a Cylon Raider. Cylon Raider is the easiest kit because I had showed Gretchen and Gilbert the Cylon Raider I built, the Mobius one, the 1/32 scale. It's a very large kit. I mean, it's big
nice
kit. The monogram one was pretty big, but that 130, it's huge. I'm like, it looks like a Captain America shield. That thing is huge. That thing is so big, but it has provisions to put engine lights in. Yeah, and I remember putting the engine lights in it, and I found these LED backup car bulbs. They were 12 volt. I figured, I'll put the LED in. I put those in, and I brought that thing to Jersey Fest, and I had the ion cannon on one side, on the other table that I built that was scratch built, and the Cylon. You can't see it in the picture that I have, but when I turned on those engine lights, it was like a spotlight on the ion cannon. It was like, that's how bright it was.
Yeah.
And I was like, I gotta tone those things down. I pulled those lights out and I just put in like ordinary, ordinary blue LEDs, in the engines. But there's not really that much to the Cylon Raider. But
No, tonight that Mobius kit is. So this is the thing that was frustrating for me, being as we've been talking, you'll probably pick up on it. So the Mobius Cylon Raider is pretty much dead on. Well, maybe that's a bit excessive, but it's very close to the studio miniature Cylon Raider. But their Viper is a combination. Again, this is me. It irks me. It's just do one or the other. Try not. Well, we want to appeal to all the fans. Listen, 90% of these guys. No, I should back. 80% aren't going to know the difference. But if you're going to take the time, you got a Mobius or you got a Colonial Viper filling miniature, just use that. Stop. You're not as good. Here's where this is what gets me. Some of these people that are involved in the construction of these kits think they're better than the original artists who created these things for motion pictures and stuff. I would never think that way. Oh, let's make the Jupiter 2, but I'm going to do it because it's better. No, it isn't. Who are you to say it's better? Really, that kind of attitude really, I don't know. It bothers me.
Which is funny because I'm looking at some of your pictures on Facebook and some of these models you did. They look like screen grabs out of movies.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
It's just like that. You did that. Like that's from the motion picture, right? I mean,
there's a video I just finished. It's from Lost in Space. It's the launch and crash of the Jupiter 2. I don't know if it's on my. Did you guys see that yet?
I've seen it. Yeah.
That uses. So I had a lot of fun doing that, and I filmed it the same way. That I didn't do anything like I didn't pull a genie out of a bottle and do it. I did it the same way they did it, and I did
the
research.
Lydecker method. Yeah. The Lydecker brothers. Yeah.
So there's two different models in that. There's a big Mobius 18-inch diameter Jupiter 2 that I converted into a Hero version. Now, what is that? So my version is just like the original 4-foot filming miniature. It has no interior except the faux interior with the scrim background and 4 figures in it. It lights up. The motor underneath is 6 bulbs, 60 degrees apart, that spin, just like on the original. Right. Now, they changed that in the third season. They actually had a whole bunch of bulbs that a thing would hit and make it. But originally, it was just 6 lights that would spin. That's what gave it that effect. Mm-hmm. So I made that. So and in some sequences in that video, you'll see the big Jupiter 2. Then you're going to see a 9.6-inch Gemini 12.
Right.
The Gemini 12 is different from the Jupiter 2. That's the original ship. Now, I acquired that because I was involved in the restoration of the actual filming miniature of the Gemini 12. Now,
Yes,
how was
yeah.
I really didn't do any. Basically, I did some detective work. I found out where it was. I wanted to do it, going back and forth with the owner, and I discovered, and he sent me pictures of its current state. He lives right outside of Disney land in California. I'm here on the East Coast in New Jersey, and I could just envision that thing coming to my house and then be shattered in a million pieces. I was like, I'm not. So I reached out to a guy who was my friend at the time, and I got him involved in it, and he restored it to the way it was. So
yeah, the original filming miniature, after Lost in Space, it was used as one of the buildings for City Beneath the Sea, which was a failed Irwin Allen. It was a pilot that they filmed. It was for a series that they were going to do. It had the flying sub in it and everything, but apparently the Jupiter 2, there were panels cut out of it to make it look like a building in this underwater city. And the restoration video is very, very good. It had warped over the years. I think it was made out of fiberglass, and
very thin.
Fiberglass had warped, and
it was very thin and very light, which is that sequence that was used for all 3 years through the series, where you see it coming down from the sky through the mountain. It was on the Lydecker rig. Now, what's the Lydecker rig? All it is was these two brothers. The Lydecker brothers did these films where they would have a piano wire going through on either side of a miniature or whatever.
And it would have like a pulley system,
right, or gravity itself, and then the miniature would just come down. And that filmed right, it looks real. It really does. Same thing with the flying sub. When they filmed that, it was spun around on it was a Lydecker method again. And it was real light, and they would spin it, and it looked. Some of that footage of the flying sub in the sky looks really good.
Yeah.
Some of it looks just hokey, but it's the same thing with the sea view from Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. In the first season, it looked on the TV series, it looked the best. But whenever it was on the surface, the 17-foot model, it was a beautiful shot. It did look real. But then as soon as they put it in the water, it looked like a toy in a fish tank or something, with the big gill man, a monster man, lobster man, this man, that man, Batman, whatever.
the one that my friend said that I should do, because I had done the Deadly Creature sculpt. It was a stand for my friend Tony Pacetti for his 37-inch Seaview. I had that at Jersey Fest, and my friend Dave Evaldi said, "You know which one you should do next?" I said, "Which one?" He goes, "The one with the scientist who gets real big. He grows out of the thing, and he's wearing this big yellow sweater, and he's grabbing the Seaview, but he's got like fangs. He kind of looks like a werewolf." He said, "You should do that one next." I was like, "That would be a challenge." I was like, "How did the fuzzy sweater grow?" How did the guy grows. And I said to myself, okay, well, the guy grew, but then all of a sudden his pants grew, his belt grew, his yellow fuzzy sweater grew. And I'm like, okay, kind of hokey. But.
They did a lot of that silly. Voyage in its first season was very good. It was very straightforward and serious. And
it was more spy. It was more spy, because it got into the James Bond type thing, like espionage and stuff like that. Yeah, which was good. I mean, there were some monsters in it, but not really a lot.
No, when they went to the second season, it was still good, but then they started throwing, and according to whoever you read or you look, it says that the ratings would go up whenever they had a silly monster on there. So I don't know how true that is, because to go back to Lost in Space, the story was that the reason that Lost in Space initially started very serious too, and then it got stupid. It became Dr. Smith's Comedy Hour. But they all, Jonathan Harris himself it's his show. Well, no, Jonathan, it wasn't your show. I think he was a great guy and all that, but it turns out that there's a current book that's out by Mark Cushman.
Okay.
Came out several years ago, and he finally, basically, it was so Lost in Space was shown on CBS, and I'm going to show you the difference there. Land of the Giants was ABC, Voyage was ABC, and Time Tunnel was ABC.
Right.
They stuck to the serious format. As stupid as their premises got, Land of the Giants is probably dead heart attack serious. And that's got the silliest premise with giants and all that kind of stuff, but they stuck to it. CBS was like, well, little Susie and little Timmy, you're hiding behind a couch because there's a giant cyclops. You guys got to lighten that up. So Irwin Allen did, he did. He lightened it up, but he lightened it up a little bit too much. There were still some standout. I think whenever they gave Guy Williams an opportunity to act and be the lead, the show took on another level. But whenever Harris was on there and then he's insulting the robot 24/7, okay, yeah, that was funny maybe a couple episodes, but all the time, come on.
The episode that stands out to me is the Android Machine.
Right.
And we get to see Guy Williams do his fencing because he was originally Zorro.
That's exactly right. Yep.
And he was doing his fencing thing, and I'm like, oh, but if you look in the cave, the moles that are on the ground are actually the moles for the Lost in Space robot. Those are the moles that they use to do the arms for the robot, and some of the moles for the legs are in that scene. When Will comes out of the Android Machine, he gets caught into it and everything, and he looks like Dr. Smith.
Yeah.
That tunnel that you see, that was actually from Fantastic Voyage, which was another 20th Century Fox property. That's the set, that they used for the miniature when they had to get air from the lungs.
Yes.
That tunnel that he comes down is actually from Fantastic Voyage, and I think the Derelict also has the Derelict episode has set decorations
from Fantastic Voyage.
From Fantastic Voyage. A lot of Fantastic Voyage stuff.
Yeah.
In Lost in Space.
Fantastic Voyage has stuff from Lost in Space too. I mean, it has the all the Fox productions, including Batman. Well, was that a Fox? No, that wasn't Fox. Who did Batman? I don't know. Oh, maybe it was Fox. They used the Burroughs computers. Everybody used the same computers. They used the same background computers that were seen in the time tunnel. So these props went around from auction to production house to production house. And
what's probably the most famous one is that thing we've got the two laser tubes with the lights going through them. You see it in like every major science fiction production ever.
The one from the Last Starfighter. It's in the Last Starfighter.
It's in the Last Starfighter. It's an Airplane 2.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ryan Shatner.
Sir, these lights are going like this, and these lights are going like that. I'm like, what should you do? Well, make those lights go like this, and make those.
They're all blinking out of sequence. We'll put the blink in sequence.
You guys got to visit the Star Trek set tour in New York. I don't know if you guys have been there, but
I've never been.
I would love to be.
I'd love to. Definitely would love to.
The first time I was there, I could not believe it. I mean, you're like walking into an episode, and it's kind of totally immersive. So they have the sound, like when you walk into the hallway, you hear the ship humming. If you walk into the transporter room, you hear the sound of the transporter room. You walk into engineering, it feels like you're on engineering. When you're on the bridge, all the sound is there. So even you don't even notice it at first, but then you're like, this feels so real. And then you're like, wow, they even have the sound going.
Yeah.
So it's definitely if you're a classic Trek guy like me, I've been there over 20 times now.
I pointed that out. That was a brilliant thing they did on Strange New Worlds when they go to Talos 4 in that series, and the atmospheric sounds are playing in the background from that's from the original series. It's like, wow, they went all out with that. Like, that's pretty cool.
Cool.
I had seen James Cawley did a video where if you go to the intercom and you push the button for the intercom, the administrator of K7 space station. It's an interactive thing. So he'll say, he'll say, Kirk, there's a swarm of Klingons on this station. And then you can reply, back with the same line, you could reply with, back with the same line that Kirk goes, I didn't know that, 5 Klingons, constituted a swarm. And then it'll go back and forth. You'll do it back and forth with it. I thought that's fantastic.
He's adding stuff down there constantly. The Galileo is down there now. I don't think it's not out for public viewing, but he has it. The actual, So that's I think that's gonna be on display this summer.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
I saw that at the Intrepid. Was that the one that was at the Intrepid?
That's the real one. Yep.
Nice.
He's gonna have it on display, but I've been there, like I said, over 20 times now, and 4 to 6 times with William Shatner, and it's so surreal to you for a second. You're like, I'm standing here, and there's William Shatner sitting in the captain's chair in front of me. That's kind of cool. Yeah.
That would be very cool. Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah. If you still have those the plans for the Kirk chair, if you could send those to me, that would be great.
Yeah, I have them somewhere. I'm gonna have to dig them out, but they're like, I think they're the closest you're gonna get to the actual. They're like the real measurements and stuff like that.
Okay.
I have to figure out where I put. I got them on a computer. Reader? You just plug in the
flash drive.
Yeah, flash drive. Yeah, and I don't know where I put it.
Okay.
So I got to find it.
Yeah, I was making a Kirk chair for Gilbert here, the Angry IT Nerd, and then Gretchen gets an Emperor's chair, so I have to build an Emperor's chair.
Palpatine's throne.
Palpatine's throne, which is going to be another learning curve, for me. But I mean, I could do a lot, all that stuff. So I've done.
Well,
it
who knows?
before.
I might hit you up for the Pike wheelchair after all.
I was looking at that, and I was like, it looks like one of those 1950s, 1950 or 60 steamer saunas. The ones you used to get into, the steamer sauna. That's what it looks like.
So a friend of mine, his name's Glenn Luftbarrow. He's friends with. He was friends with Greg Jean. He's a big prop collector. He knows Sean Kenny.
Okay.
Sean Kenny played the crippled Captain Pike.
Right.
So he was
but
talking.
It wasn't Jeffrey Hunter.
No, Jeff Hunter was. They would have cost him too much. He was still alive, very much alive, but it would have cost them way too much just to have him sit in that box like that. So they got Sean Kenny because he has more than a passing resemblance to Jeff Hunter. Plus with the deformed makeup and all on, he's very good. But he told Glenn, because I was asking about if he could find some information. He said it was just basically a plywood box. That's all it was. And he actually did the. You know how the light blinked? He would do that with his hand. Sean Kenny did that inside the box with his hand.
Yeah, that's what my guess was. I figured he had a buzzer or a button. He could just go push it once.
Yeah, that's what I thought as well.
That's all he did was say yes or no. So,
hey guys, can I split for a second? I gotta take care of something real quick.
Sure, no problem.
Sure.
I'll be right back.
All right. So, it's great to get a little bit of behind the scenes of Trek and everything that he's doing, and so.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Doing any modeling right at the moment, but
why aren't you doing your Constitution refit now?
just because I've had my daughter for the past few weeks, and she's having everything out. It can be an issue. Starting next week, it won't be that way. But so today, and I'll have to turn off my blur so you can see it. I'm just doodling today, so not like I haven't been paying attention. I'm just not. I don't know if we can see that.
Oh, awesome! That's pretty cool.
I mean, it's just a sketch. It's not finished. He brought up it being his second favorite. Sacrilegious, and people aren't gonna like the fact that this is not my favorite, and I'm just over here like, I'll be quiet. I'll be nice. It is.
It said immediately when he said that, I was like, "Oh,
I saw you smirking, and I know you saw me smirking. So we were there. But no, I mean, either way, looking at some of his models on his website, on his Facebook page, and even some of the videos, even though I can't watch the sound while I'm online here, just some of these productions he's done. I mean, that's stuff I wanted to do as a kid. I'm like, I can't do this with a VHS recorder and a plastic AMT model with no lighting. You're just not going to do it. I mean, it's not going to.
I was looking through it, and hands down, my absolute favorite, because quite honestly, is my absolute favorite like superhero, the Green Hornet, the Black Beauty here, the Green Hornet. Oh my God, I love this. I love it.
The Kato show.
Yes, the Kato show. Yes.
Off the wall black cars. One I've always wanted to do a model of, and it's really an obscure movie, but Car from the movie.
Yes.
The car.
Yes.
I don't even know if it was a real car. I think they fabricated most of it.
The George Barris one. Yeah, the one.
Yeah, that
it didn't.
Awesome.
It didn't have any handles on it.
No, that thing is awesome.
It is. It's cool. I think you could get a diecast. There was one several years ago. I think it's 1/18th scaled, but you could get a diecast version of that.
Who'd you say made the model, George?
George Barris made the actual car, the Sun car. George Barris. He, I think he also did the Batmobile, didn't he? No,
Yes.
I'm sorry. Yeah. That was Barris Batmobile.
The original from '66.
Yeah, the '66 Batmobile.
Not the one they built out of a Ford Galaxy for 1989. Oh, there it is.
No.
Oh, freaking awesome.
I had seen the '89 Batmobile close up. Les Dunham. His classic car shop was in Boonton, New Jersey, and he had one there. He had it all in the back underneath the thing, and I went with a friend of mine. My friend had a go pick up parts. I said, "Do you have the '89 Batmobile here?" He goes, "Who told you that?" And I was like, "Some guy I know, this guy, that guy." And he goes, "I go, can I see it?" And he goes, "Yeah." It was I think it was built on a Corvette Stingray chassis, wasn't it? I believe.
What?
A little
'89 Batman?
The '89 Batmobile.
No, that was a Ford Galaxy.
Was it Ford Galaxy?
Mm-hmm.
I saw it, and I was like,
okay.
"Oh my God, I would love to have this car." He goes, "Everybody would love to have this car. The only thing is," I said, "it's very unstable on the road." He said, "Yes, it's very unstable. Those wings, the wings in the back,
Mm-hmm.
when they're driving it down that road, that guy is trying to keep it.
Just trying to keep it steady because it's steadily just going. Yeah, because of the aerodynamics of it. Yeah.
Yeah,
The thing
the
is,
aerodynamics
like
of it is
30
off.
feet long. Let's be honest that the Batmobiles in the Schumacher and Burton films weren't exactly the most practical.
No, I mean, as far as drivability,
Flashy.
no.
And even when you get to I think it was the third one with Val Kilmer, and everything in the whole movie is neon.
Oh.
Speaking of lights that are too bright, like you can see the fins on the back, flapping when it's driving down the road. Like, okay, those.
It's like I'm not sure which is better, if it's like all white but it is extremely bright, or if it's like completely black when it's like bright pinks and bright blues and like
but that's
bright
what happened
orange.
with the original design of the Tucker when they designed the Tucker. It had the wheels, or the front wheels, had these pods that would move, and it's like a very dangerous design. When you turn the wheel, you were actually cutting into the wind, and you were gonna spin that car around. So what they did was they kept the wheels, static there, because they're supposed to have like these movable pods for the wheels. They put the light in, so the light in the Tucker, the third light, turned with the wheels. So like when you turn the wheel, the third front headlight would actually spin, or would actually rotate toward where you were going with the wheels. That's the same thing with like my wife's Mazda now. When you turn the corner, the lights actually follow because there's a camera that looks at the road, and it actually, puts those headlights around the bend to actually.
We're two steps away from us veering over the center line and the car going, "What are you doing, Dave?"
Exactly.
So.
But I in an effort to always be correct and give factual information, according to the Peterson Automotive Museum, the 1989 Batman was built out of 2 Chevy Impala chassis fused together.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
With 50 caliber machine guns, or were they 30
with 2 machine guns?
They were 50s.
Well, we can talk about Michael Keaton's body count another time, because that's a whole nother conversation.
That's a whole nother thing right there.
Gretchen has a kill count. She has like a kill counter that she Gretchen and Gilbert do a show called The Rules of Nerdquisition. So they do a lot of they review Star Trek episodes and
in order. Yeah, we're on season 2 of the original series. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So
and so part of our show is Gretchen has what she does a KD ratio, which is a kill to death ratio.
Right.
Which in the show she'll pick out, whichever either actor or actress or extra, whoever has passed, will announce, of course, this person played this role, whatever subsequent role they've played in Trek ever since then. She'll notate all of that, tell the whatever kind of properties they've been in and whatnot. And, let them know when they died and whatnot. And so to keep her kill to death ratio up, to let everybody know who was in this episode that died.
Like right now, I'm like 38, 39 to 0. I haven't missed an episode yet. So I figure, I guess I lose one when I can't find
I thought you were going to say you were doing the kill ratio as far as was it the red shirts that died the most, or the gold shirts, or the blue?
The red shirt.
So
that's not a bad thing. That's a bad stat to check.
That's actually not a bad one. Yeah.
There was a guy. There's somebody who actually had too much time on their hands. They did an actual, because everybody says the red shirts, right? That's the big joke, and it was probably funny the first 2,000 times you heard the red shirt. Oh, don't wear a red shirt. Okay, gotcha. But it turns out that the red shirts aren't the ones that died the most. According to this guy's poll, anyway, it was the yellow shirts who died more. So, how about that?
Okay.
Are they just doing it through the original series though? Because once you get to TNG and you get the color swap.
No, just right through the original series. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I will have to look into that.
Yeah.
Maybe Gilbert, you have a project now.
Oh, well, that's mine. Because I mean, once we get into like
and then you should have a little thing going, like
right.
He died.
Yeah.
But see,
I've done episodes when we've talked about multiple, because there's been episodes with like multiple people who are with us. And I think the first one was having to talk about Jeffrey Hunter, because we had Chris Hunter on the show that day.
But I will say
the joke of the kill to death. It is their contributions to Star Trek and other stuff.
Yeah, well, just in society or whatever media they want and whatnot. And so I know as soon as we get into like next gen, then the KD ratio is going to go down a little bit.
It gets harder as we get into episodes. I mean,
like I said, Jeff Hunter and I are actually pretty good friends. He actually came to my house. We met at the set tour. We spent a day at the set tour with Shatner, and then he came here. He wanted to see my models because he's a builder too.
Yes, we talked to him about that.
Yeah.
And he was a plethora. We were talking about it because the reason we became friends in the first place, because I'm a big fan of his father, and him and I connected a little bit, and he so at the set tour, he came down there and in front of everybody, he's like, he's doing this, like this thing to me. And he goes, man, you look just like my father. I'm like, listen, Chris, all right, I get it. All right, man. I said, thank you. But, he was full of information in regards to, so the current, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but Jeff Hunter was supposed to be in the next pilot. He was the only one that Desilu wanted back. The first pilot was good, they said, but then it needed a little bit more. You got to lose the guy with the ears. You got to lose that woman, number one.
Number one, yeah.
Yeah.
But they wanted Hunter back. So unbeknownst to Jeff Hunter himself, he had gotten divorced and remarried. Now, this is Chris told me this story in my kitchen. He said, it wasn't my father who didn't want to go. His stepmother came in and stood in for Jeff when they reran the pilot. And so she's sitting there with all the execs from Desilu and with Roddenberry and all. And they're like, where's Jeff? And so it goes over. She goes, well, no, Jeff's not doing this. He's a movie star. He's not gonna. And Jeff Hunter didn't know about it, apparently. According to Chris, he said he was mad because he really liked what he was doing on Star Trek. And the other misconception is, well, he wouldn't have been it. He died after the series went off the air anyway, so he would have been around, with all the multiple ifs that or what this happened or not. But it would have been interesting to see. I love Shatner. I mean, I think we all do, right? But it would have been interesting to see Jeff Hunter's particular take had he had a more than one episode to work with.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I would have loved to seen it.
I think that's just why I'm so fascinated with Strange New Worlds too. I mean, I know Anson Mount is not Jeffrey Hunter, but I mean, we're getting something of that, a taste of it at least. And even Chris Hunter said that he's like, that's his favorite series right now. I mean, of course, but he's a Pike fan. Why wouldn't you be a Pike fan? My dad was
of course, absolutely.
I'm a daggone Pike fan.
Yeah, I'm. Last week, Rules of Nerdquisition did Cat's Paw, and they had me on as a guest, and I remember watching it because I watched, the original series first run, and I remember it was on a Wednesday night at, I believe, 8:00. It was 8:00 Wednesday night on NBC. And I remember watching it Wednesday. Then it started moving all over. It was going to Thursday. It went to Friday. It went to Sunday. It went to Saturday. They started moving it around because it was like the turbulent time. Well, I guess of the '60s, Vietnam War, stuff like that. Because I used to watch Vietnam War on TV. And I was like. And my only outlet for all this violence was Star Trek. It was that, my dad. My dad was a police officer. He was in the riots. We lived like 3 blocks away from Newark, and I remember, coming home, shining his paratrooper boots, field stripping his M1 carbine and his shotgun, and putting all that together for him, cleaning everything, putting all the guns together. And I was doing this after school. And then at night he would get his riot shield and go to Newark and go back up other police officers and stuff like that.
Oh gosh.
And I was like,
wow.
it was like a turbulent time in my childhood, but Star Trek was there. It was, it was like my safe space to go to, and building models and stuff. I think we started with the Aurora. I remember Aurora had a lot of the monster model kits, like the Universal, Universal monsters,
right? That's what they
Filmland. Those kits, like the Wolfman and Creature from the Black Lagoon and stuff like that. And I think they were the only model company making those types of kits at the time. You know,
They were.
like the
They were.
Flying Sub, the Seaview, not the 37-inch Seaview. 37-inch came out way. I think that came out in the 90s, I think, but I remember the 8-inch one we had. You know, the Aurora kit
the
and
other
stuff.
Seaview didn't come out until Mobius did it. That was 39 inches in length.
Yeah.
That one is that was the Mobius one is the larger one you're talking about. But the original Aurora, the little one, yeah.
And they never had the TV series one. It was always the 8-window one from the movie.
Yeah.
The panel window.
Which is kind of cool because it's still the same. So the 8-window version Seaview is the same. Is the 4-foot as the 4-window Seaview. They just changed the nose on the damn thing.
Yeah.
Basically, which is kind of cool. But yeah, like I said, we're spoiled today with the kits that we can get. Unfortunately, not to throw a damper on it, I don't think the kids, like when I was a kid, everybody was building models one way or the other. But now you could just walk into Walmart or Target and pretty like Star Wars is everywhere. I mean, it's like Star Wars overload almost. You could pretty much get some type of version of the Millennium Falcon, whether it be a Lego or a little model, or it's already built. You don't have to do anything to it.
Yeah,
my first Millennium Falcon was built out of some plastic cups and a pizza box.
When I'm like when I probably couldn't do the Enterprise justice, so I do have an Enterprise kit. I have the original one, you know, with the grain of wheat bulbs that I did find at a hobby shop here in Pennsylvania.
Sure.
They were going to throw it away, and you know, I was like, "I'll buy it from you. How much do you want for it?" He goes, you know, give me $20. So I got the thing for $20. So I had that original kit.
Right.
And I'm like, so it's an AMT. It's before AMT Ertl, so it's an AMT kit.
Sure.
And it's that original box art. And I was like, I remember this from my childhood. He goes, yeah, nobody wants this thing. Nobody's interested in Star Trek anymore. I was like, I guess most of these guys have died. Because, you know.
Yeah.
But you know that this is
you know what's really based on sales and whatnot. The Space 1999 stuff is actually doing well. The Eagles, the 22-inch Eagles. I built a number of them. I still have one that I kept for myself. They are very nice kits. Whether you like, I was a fan of the show. I mean, I like the show anyway. I mean, that's another rabbit hole to go down if you want to talk about Space 1999. I love it. I thought it was a great show, and I could take it for what it was. And of course, the first season was much different from the second season and all that. But the designs and the model work in the show were fantastic. Which, you know, I mean, they brought just going back to the lineage of the Falcon again. The Millennium Falcon basically started out looking more like a Space 1999 Eagle.
Right.
Until, you know, that's the blockade runner, the Princess's blockade runner, right?
Yeah, the Tantive 4, it was, you know, actually Princess Leia's ship. It actually had the front of the Millennium Falcon on it, and
That's right.
And it looked more like an eagle, and I was like, oh. And then they changed it. They changed the nose of it. I remember.
Yeah, they I think, well, the story goes, and you know, there's 100 different stories, but I think it was one of Lucas's, one of the guys who worked said, Luke, you can't use that. He's like, why? There's a TV show on. That thing's good. That's going to be compared to the eagle on the TV show. He was like, I said, and he told them, just make something, make it a saucer. And of course I love the Millennium Falcon. I think it's one of my favorite spaceships. So.
Yeah, I remember getting the original original MPC kit. It had grain of wheat bulbs for the engines. Now it's like, you could make the engine compartment like, you know, the one on. You could make the one from, because there's an illustrated history of Star Wars. They have a book that shows you all the intricacies,
Yeah.
the interior shots and stuff like that, and sketches, of the models. So now they actually have the engine detail. Before it was just, two arcs of plastic that were clear. You could get some Scotch Brite and you can kind of, make it a little bit softer and stuff like that and put 2 little grain of wheat bulbs in there. Now it's like you could put LED strip in because, we're spoiled now.
Yeah.
You could do all that stuff.
Yep.
There are other, what do you think of like accurizing kits like Green Strawberry and maybe Paragraphics or something like that? Like they're like photo etch. They're photo etch kits.
Yeah, I use in my builds. I've used Green Strawberry. I think they're really good, and I used Paragraphics, of course. Paul Paragraphs has got some good stuff to really put the model over the edge. He has like for the refits. I didn't use all of his the whole kit, all of the photo etch, but I did use he has all the wall beams and dividers for the shuttle bay for the refit.
Right.
That's a big, so on mine, my personal one, I could take off the back and you can look inside and see the whole shuttle bay is all detailed and all, which most modelers do anyway, but his stuff makes it pop a little bit more. And I'm trying to remember where else I used it on a bunch of Jupiter 2 builds I did, and I used it on his stuff on flying subs that I built, and yeah, I like it. I mean, if you want to go the extra distance, again, we're spoiled because we have so many options. We could pick, like Green Strawberry, for example. You brought that up for Lost in Space. They have these figures that are the Robinsons and the freezing tube. Now I got them. I acquired. I don't have the model anymore. Somebody else has it. I sold it to somebody. But I had the Robinsons asleep in the frozen. And if you see the video that I produced, that's from an old kit that I had.
Right.
Green Strawberry does. They actually look like the actors, and they have Jonathan Harris as Dr. Smith. 2 versions. One he's in that. Those coveralls, and one he's in just the shirt and a tie.
Right.
From the pilot episodes.
Right.
It looks like Jonathan Harris. So
wow.
they really do a great job there on for that kind of stuff. But yeah, if it enhances a model, I'm all for it. If I can't get it like from Paragraphics or someone, I'll just scratch build it myself.
Yeah. The Green Strawberry kit I did see, they actually had beaming personnel like from DS9 or whatever.
Yeah,
they have personnel that are, I guess, in beaming transformation or in transition, so they're like clear figures. Well, they're not clear figures. They're kind of frosted figures. So if you put them in the transporter room, you can actually put lights underneath them and it looks like they're beaming in or beaming out, so that's something I really like, that, kind of like to enhance them all. I mean, I really like doing, I do all the asteroid stuff when you're going to have like some, something like, like an asteroid, like an asteroid space station. I love doing that. That's what I like doing.
Sure.
And so, but that's my, that's my thing, to actually create an asteroid space station or a way station for like a starship or something, like like a hangar or something like that.
Well, I'm looking into do. This is how crazy I am. I'm looking to do a dry dock for my refit.
Oh.
And I've already reached out to a couple guys that they do a 3D printing and a 3D. The one gentleman does the file, and then I have another friend who does that I know could do the printing for me. It's just a matter of logistics for me. It's like, so this thing is going to be over 5 feet in length.
Right.
for this model to fit in. Now, I haven't. Have you been? I have never been to Wonderfest.
I've never been to Wonderfest either.
So
I've seen that dry dock that they had. The one guy did the 1 year.
yeah,
It really looks nice and everything. I do have detail that you could use. I have these old fluorescent light, I guess, covers,
yeah,
and they have the lighted construction panels, the hexagonal panel
sure.
that is in the dry dock. I have that detail. So if you need that, just tell me, and we'll meet up one day, and I'll give you the panel, and you can just cut out as many as you need. But I have that panel because those panels are basically it's a hexagonal panel, and it's I think it's it has like little triangles in it, but they're all in like a certain sequence. They're all made up of like little triangles, like little
very cool,
like little like little raised triangles. I have those because I was going to throw them out, and Eric goes, no, hold on to that. I was like, why? He goes, somebody might need it someday. And I'm like, okay, you're going to be doing the dry dock. There you go.
Yeah, good for Eric.
That's half your battle right there. You just got to cut them out. So
yeah, okay. I may take you up on that. Yeah.
Yeah. I had looked at, because I was gonna do a hanger deck, and kind of do those panels where you would put the lights, the actual enclosure around that panel, hexagonal panel. They had these petri dishes. I don't know if you've ever seen them on on Amazon. I used to work for a pharmaceutical company. So they had these hexagonal raised, they're like kind of, they're, kind of like beveled, but they're petri dishes, and they're hexagonal panels. And I said, if you could put that panel on top of that, put a light in there, like put, I guess, plastic over it, like, and then make it black or whatever, so there's no light leaks. There you go.
Right.
You have your, illumination construction panel.
Right. Okay.
Like your construction lights. So there you go. So,
okay. I may take you up on that.
I gotta, yeah. So, I know our show is going over, but this is a special episode. So,
oh really?
If everybody's, yeah,
I'm honored.
Yeah, we usually keep it to about an hour.
You guys aren't falling asleep yet?
But
actually, no, it's pretty interesting. But as usual, I'm being paged, and autism will not be ignored any further. So I'm going to go be a parent. But right now, I'm going to leave you with this tidbit of knowledge before I go. And it was very nice meeting you, Mark. That was awesome.
Same here. Same here. Please.
But the device we were talking about, the dual laser generator, also known as the dual axis generator, is, according to Guinness, the most used sci-fi prop, and fans have dubbed it the most important device in the universe. So, I will leave you all again. Nice meeting you, and
nice meeting you too.
Thank you very much, Gretchen.
I'll see you tomorrow for iMud. I know you're looking forward to it. And
you know it. Harry Mudd, my absolute favorite character in all of Star Trek. Harry Mudd.
Right. All right. Peace out. Live long and prosper.
Okay.
Right, take care.
All right, Gretchen.
Yeah. So, all right. So there was Tomy. We talked about Tomy. We talked about. Are there any other things that you're,
well, the Tomy
you're doing?
So, by doing this stuff and putting my stuff out there on Facebook, first I didn't want to be on Facebook. A friend of mine who. This ties into something too. His name is he's an illustrator. His name's Jeff Summers.
Okay.
He told me, he said, you need to get on there for your stuff, because I was just posting on like Hobby Talk, Starship Modeler, Cult TV Man Place, whatever it was. He's like, you need to get your stuff out there. I'm like, I don't want to get on Facebook. He goes, just do it. And according to Jeff, I got on there, and all of a sudden I start getting this recognition from people, and then. one of the cool things was that my Jupiter 2, if you guys go to the hobby shop to this day, you flip over the box. That's my Jupiter 2 on the box and has my name on it. It has it right there,
Nice.
by Mark Myers, which was kind of cool. And then Doug Drexler, you guys know who Doug Drexler is, right?
Yeah, Doug.
Doug reached out to me because I friended him, and because he's like Trek royalty, and we started talking. And he reached out to me and said, Mark, I want to use your Enterprise in my calendar, the Ships of the Line calendar. I was like, wow, really? So I did some research, and here it's a calendar with all this beautiful artwork and stuff. So there's a couple other guys that do actual physical models, but he said he wanted another physical model. So I got together with Jeff. I tried them on my own. I just didn't have the hardware or whatever to do. I have a lot of stuff now. As you can see, my work is up on, on videos and stuff. But back then I did. So Jeff and I collaborated, and here it's in a calendar. And then he came back to me and he says, what else you got? So we did the refit the following year. And then Jeff took it another. He did something on his own. I think he did the Borg Cube, or was it the Borg Cube or Enterprise E or something? I forget what he did. He had the toy and he just took a photograph of it. But it led to different things. And then I did a series of articles for. Do you guys remember a magazine called Sci-Fi and Fantasy Miler magazine?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It was made in England and sold here in the United States for like $20 a pop, $30. I did a bunch of articles for those guys. And I got into. I hear my dog. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Okay.
She's getting hungry. So, Fine Scale Mahler put my work in my Millennium Falcon, an Enterprise, and I think R2D2 and C3PO. So this stuff has kind of opened up doors for me, and I've got to meet people and be friends with people. Chris Hunter, because of my model work, him and I became friends. James Cawley, initially, I think James liked my work, and then we're friends now, and so there's a lot of positive about it.
Yeah,
and
it's all networking. It's like, if you go to Wonderfest, because that's what Eric Longstreet said. He said, go to Wonderfest, you network with these people. It's all about the networking. It's all about meeting people, seeing what they need. If you can help them, and I try to help people as much as I can. So I don't expect people to pay me $25,000 or anything like that for a model. Like, if it helps you out, it helps you out. It's not, I just try to be like that. I'm not gonna say no if you want to give me $25,000. But,
of course not.
Right.
Of course not. All right.
But
But yeah.
So
fun thing.
So I had to reset the show. I didn't reset the show, but we're almost out of time anyway. I just wanted to thank you so much for coming on. And
no, I'm humbled that you even asked me to. Who's going to want to hear me? It's fun. It's like talking about this stuff and Trek.
We love. Yeah, I mean, maybe Gretchen.
One day, you got to come on to Rules of Nerdquisition.
Yeah.
One day, you got to come on Rules of Nerdquisition to, any episode of Trek you want to talk about. Hey, we can talk about that if you want to. Otherwise, otherwise we'll just talk about just Trek in general or just pretty much anything, because we range anywhere from, once we discuss our episode of Trek, it pretty much range from anything from Trek movies to Star Wars to Babylon 5, to pretty much anything.
Battlestar Galactica.
Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
So I created Model Citizen so that we could talk about models and movies and special effects and all this other stuff, special makeup effects. 'Cause I definitely want to interview my friend David Ayers. He did most of the makeup for Close Encounters of the Third Kind and all
Sure.
this other stuff. And I'm like, like
You
like,
you
I
make
don't
this
get to talk to
available?
these people. What?
Do you make this available on YouTube too? Is this like a video that's people can just like look at now? That's
Yeah.
on there. Or?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's on-
It goes on. It goes on Twitch, YouTube.
Of course, naturally, the radio on the radio itself.
Yeah, we have a radio station.
Twitch,
and a radio
YouTube.
station.
Cool.
We used to do on TikTok, but till TikTok starts acting funny.
Yeah. If you guys gonna have to send me the link on YouTube so I could. I'll post it on my page so people can come know you guys are out there. Maybe you can get some more people to come on and talk about their work and Star Trek and all science fiction and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
absolutely, absolutely.
I'll send you the link. It's a GCPR YouTube channel. It goes Claw Productions Radio. So we have a YouTube channel. We actually use a platform called Streamlabs, so we can stream to all of these different places at the same time.
Oh wow!
And then when we're done with the show, it's just there.
Oh, cool!
So then you can watch it. I can watch it within, I think like 5 or 10 minutes, of us getting off the air. So.
Oh wow, that's exciting! Very cool. Well, listen, thank you very much for inviting me. I'm very much humbled, and I hope that I didn't put you guys to sleep.
No, you come back. I mean, if you want to come back, you can. It's just a bunch of us just talking, Trek.
Yeah, that's great. Great
models
stuff.
and stuff like that and things. So
we got to get more like-minded individuals involved so people can see what's going on out there. I mean, just to throw the set tour out there again, there's still a lot of people don't realize it's out there.
Yeah, I know.
And and you guys got to come and see it. And if you're a Trek guy, you're gonna love it. And that's just one of many things. I mean, even models and whatever.
I'll come and see it when I bring the Pike chair. So
nice.
We're gonna have to do the makeup too, though. I'll have to.
I actually consulted David Ayers about the makeup.
Oh, really?
So I have to have him on and ask him. Again, but I think he's working with the Bermans now, so he's working with John. Is Jim Berman? I forget John Berman. Anyway, he's working with the Berman makeup, in Van Nuys, California. So.
Oh, okay, cool.
So so we'll do the makeup on you. There you go.
All right, yeah, be fun. All right, gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you, Mark. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Nice meeting you, sir.
You too.
Great meeting you too.
Bye.
All right, bye-bye.
And that has been Model Citizen. We ran a little bit over time. Had Mark Myers on. It was fun to have him on and just talk about Trek and models and stuff like that. So
great show. It's a great show.
Yeah, great show. Thank you very much. Gretchen had to leave. James couldn't be on today, and hopefully our next guest should be Ralph Tenaglia. That's tentative. We're going to find out, and we will see. So thank you very much for being on, and thank you for joining us. And I'm very sorry that the show went over time, but
man,
Model Citizen.
Don't be sorry, man. This show was great. It really was. Because here's the thing. Like, honestly, you see all the stuff and the ships and props and everything, and you know that it's props, that everything like that, but just knowing the story that goes behind it as to how, this person saw that, and then say, hey, can you make this for me? All right, cool. And it's just
to be this price, and they go, my friend can do it for $300. And I'm like, okay, have your friend do it for $300. I hang up on the person. I used to do that. I just hang up on the person, and they'd call me back. Why'd you hang up on me? Well, you said
there's no point in
with it, you said your friend could do it for $300. Have him do it for $300.
That's it.
Well, he's kind of busy. He has a girlfriend. He just got married. He doesn't have any more arms. He lost them in like a chainsaw accident. I'm like, okay, so do you want me to do the model or do you want me not to do the model? I don't know.
All right.
I did have a suggestion. When you do your cube, you can fit it over your microphone. Because it is green.
Yeah.
Green from the microphone
to have to shine through the cube. Yeah.
Yeah. It could.
I could.
Be
oh
like
yeah.
That.
You just gave me a great idea, man, and I'm going to do that. So. But yeah,
next up on Model Citizen, the Borg cube. No.
The Borg cube coming soon. Oh yeah.
It will go green though.
But yes, it will. So, hey, go ahead and
we have to end the show.
We have to ending the show.
Thank you much, everybody, for listening to GCPR Ghost Law Productions Radio. I'm your host George Dayer, and my co-host is the Angry IT Nerd. I don't know why he's angry, but current circumstances with our political system, yes, I guess he would be angry, and I would be angry, and I'm going to be angry too soon. So. Hopefully we can do the shows from the same political re-education camp that
eventually
we're going to be in. With Jeff Kennedy. I don't know.
So we'll all be one big happy GCPR family. We'll have our own camp. We'll have our own GCPR camp.
After Thomas's TikTok today, I was like, well, thank you, Thomas, for putting that target on our back. Thank you so much for that.
But hey, it is what it is. So I guess we just have to survive the next 4 years. So we'll do it.
So we'll do it. Okay.
All right,
this
everybody.
has been Model Citizen.